What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the In the Round podcast. It's your boy Matt Burrill, and on today's episode, got one that I've been wanting to, got some boys in here that I've been wanting to have back on for a very long time. Used to work with these guys, spent a lot of time out on the road with them. Used to co-host a podcast called the Grapevine Podcast with them, and super stoked to have them here today. When they have some downtime, a lot of busy stuff coming up for them. They just put out a brand new record called Teenage Dixie. We have got my boys Gary Stanton and Charlie Muncaster, also known as Muscadine Bloodline. How you boys doing?
Dude, we're good, man.
It's good. It's really weird because we're like boys, so it's kind of hard to have an interview.
It's like the small talk. You're like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Well, what's nice is that it's not like I've been trying to get like. I've been like, as this thing's grown, I've been doing, trying to make it more like conversational than like an interview. So having some folks on that
probably makes it easier when you just like your friends are on. You know?
Dude, and then they just go and so what have you guys been up to? We're how many weeks now past the record being out? It's what, like a month?
Almost a month.
Almost a month.
Yeah,
it's been 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It seems like it's been doing pretty good for you guys, huh?
Man, it has. It was I would say the best or the most well-received record we've done, and I think the coolest part about it is I feel like Charlie and I collectively are finally putting out music that it's not how do I say this?
It's not a shot in the dark.
Yeah, it's not like, hey, let's try this, or like, oh, maybe this is what we should do. It's just like, this is what we want to do. And that's what's really resonating with people. And so that's the best of both worlds because, okay, finally, we feel like after 7-8 years of doing this, trying to figure it out, like it takes time. Like we didn't, that's the hard thing is like seeing a band grow, especially like us. Like you take us at 2015 and it's like, man, we're different people.
Kids.
And
I feel like
had a lot of growing up to do. And honestly, like, or even listening and inspired by different things than we were then. But seems like a lot of times I feel like Nashville kind of makes what music's supposed to be a lot more complicated.
Yeah.
And we kind of, after COVID, kind of dialed back. And this record is kind of a manifestation of I feel like this record kind of started in 2020 around the Dispatch record, too, that we were writing. And it's kind of the predecessor of that and just the kind of the even the evolution even more of like, okay, Dispatch to 16th Ave was kind of like this, like, okay, we're planting the flag here. This is like where the boat's coming to harbor. And now Teenage Dixie is the evolution of that, the step further and, really showcasing not just, a performance, so to speak, but trying to, songwriting and performance too, I guess, because Charlie's got a killer voice, and
dude, the show is so fucking good.
Right,
I got to
you got to see it,
dude. That new show is fucking awesome.
Yeah,
and it kind of feels weird. We're only playing it for a few more weeks before we take a break.
Yeah, so it's been fun to just play new stuff and trying stuff live, see what gets received, and honestly, you see, we're not idiots. Like we want to play what people. What most people are there to see us. Like, if we don't play Porch Swing Angel, like people will riot. Yeah. So it's one of those things that we kind of learn. But I love the few weeks after a record comes out because Charlie and I, we're just throwing darts at the board. Be like, let's try this tonight or let's try this. And then you actually see, like, oh, wow, this was really cool. We got to start doing this.
One of my favorite moments of the weekend. I had a great time with you guys. It was fun.
It was a nice throwback
weekend. It
was
fun to throw it back and sling some shirts and hang out with the VIP folks and do all that. The last night in Charlotte, when you guys came out and did that encore of Devil Died in Dixie.
With the cowbell.
And you went out there and just gave it hell with that cowbell. Yeah. I was like, this stuff fucks. Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, shout out to Whiskey Myers. We kind of like took a little inspiration from Tony. They take a part in their set and they beat the shit out of a damn cowbell. And we were like, we need to do that.
I remember we posted a picture of Charlie hitting the cowbell and he commented on it and he was like, someone's got to carry the torch, man.
Love those guys.
No, like, for example, that was the first time we'd played that song live in Charlotte, and we're like,
we practiced it for like 4 days.
Yeah, we were like, we were going to sound check and be like, let's run this a few times and just kind of get it. It's a hard song lyrically because it's just 6 verses. There's no chorus, no anything, and a lot of musical things going on. And so finally, after 3 or 4 days, we were kind of like, let's give her a stab.
But what's great now too is I know for this record, and I think for just you guys have had the boys playing on the records. Like it's a cohesive thing. So it's got to be easier for them because they were the ones in the studio
doing
it with you guys, right?
Yeah, 100% makes it easier and like more fun. I mean, it's not like they have to brush up on it, but like they helped write the parts too. So like they're just as excited to play it as we are. It's not like they're just some hired guns that come in there and say, all right, well, here's the record. Let's just play it how it is or whatever. It's like, oh, they helped play the parts on the record. So it's a cool way to create.
It wouldn't be a Muscadine Bloodline record without our band. So it's just any way to kind of stick out and just, our group's pretty tight and we try to keep it like a family. We want to keep everybody involved.
Yeah.
And keeping everybody busy keeps everybody paid too. So that's another thing. But I would say another thing with this record that I don't even know if Charlie and I've talked about at links, but this was like the first time we'd put out a record where there wasn't like clear favorites from the fans. So like
from us.
Yeah, and so it was like if you went around the room and our whole band's like, what was your favorite song? You're probably going to get a different one for everybody. And then also too, when the fans were like, what's the favorite songs off of it?
And they're like, I don't care.
It's just like someone's doing this one, this one. And so usually we've been like, okay, there's 3 that we can all kind of know that these are the ones that are, most of the fans are liking the most. And you get to see it on Spotify. And then when it came out, we're like, man, all these songs are toe to toe. This is kind of cool. So it's great to feel like when you make a record, and that's what we want to do too. It's another part of the evolution is we just want to make really good records. Like not really more concerned about breaking records or anything. It's just like let's just throw it out there and make the best record we possibly can.
Yeah, I feel like y'all are like writing a big book, and each record is a chapter, and like the singles and the EPs were kind of like the prequel. And
that's one of the best ways to put it.
It's honestly like thinking back to Burning at Both Ends. That was you guys coming out of that era of Muscadine, what you guys had recorded before COVID and then released during COVID. Dispatches, you guys.
And
all right,
turn another page.
Yep, this is our sound. This is what we think about a lot of things. And then and then Teenage Dixie. That we're from the South. We have these stories. We got something to say, and this is our sound. We like to rock it a bit, and we have tons of heaters on there. I can't wait to see what Chapter 4 sounds like. I'm sure you guys are already planning the next one.
Dude, honestly,
y'all don't stop.
It's about done. I think we're like one song
That's
shy.
ridiculous.
Just psycho. Just keep going, baby.
It's just
keep the ball moving.
That's our favorite. My favorite thing, and Charlie too. It's like I'm a songwriter.
Yeah.
Like that's I'll die a songwriter. That's what I love to do. It's my favorite part. The show and going playing touring. That's just a part of doing it. But my favorite part is the studio and writing songs. So you're always stretching that creativity and. Yeah, and it's kind of weird. I'm not gonna give away details, but it's been kind of cool because we kind of have this plan set for the next few years about what we're putting out, and so now we know what those records are. So we are writing specifically for records instead of just like, hey, I had this song I did, it's, blah blah blah, and it might end up being a really good song or might be terrible. But so it's been kind of a cool thing and a challenge to be like, okay, we're looking at this body of work, these 12, 13 songs. What does this need? Okay, well, let's write that.
Yeah.
And so that's what it's made it cool. And you're right. That's the whole point of records to us. I feel like another thing that a lot of people have lost sight of is just they pick their 10 or 12 favorite songs that they've written in the past couple years and put it on a project instead of being like, oh no, let's make something that cohesively flows together that has different ebbs and flows and journey and that sort of thing. And so I don't know, it's been really cool to just dial it back, and Charlie and I are doing most of the writing just by ourselves.
And you guys are producing it with your guy who's been with you since day one,
right?
Brian.
Yeah, like I said, it's like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it's kind of like we just enjoy.
Well, we got a taste of like, hey, let's go do this thing. We learned in the beginning, hey, okay, we'll try this producer and that producer, and then it's just like, which is fine. It's like that was an evolution of it's just part of learning. You never know unless you try, and we just didn't like it as much as going to our friend's studio house. It's like it felt most comfortable to us to do it how we had been doing it, and so we were like, okay, let's peel the curtain back a little bit. Let's save money on top of that and just go make the records we want to make with our friends. And it's pretty easy to work like that.
It's so grassroots, the situation over there at the Amber Sound currently.
Yeah, totally.
Because it's like, it's y'all have your office. Brad, who is just the man.
He's great.
He to me is one of the best things I ever did in my life.
You did.
We gotta thank you for that.
Finding the ultimate merch manager. Because he can sling merch like I can, but he's got an organization that I will never have.
And he's a great designer. He's good at coming up with ideas. Like he's really in tune with the young crowd and what they want. Because he's young. I mean, he's like 24.
Yep.
And so it's like he knows what these younger kids want, and we know a little bit of what's cool, but he'll show us something that would not necessarily be our idea, but he's like, just trust me, like this is what kids want. And we're like, okay, let's try it. You know?
The merch game is just insane. And I think that's because you guys are grassroots and you guys are independent. Y'all can do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Exactly.
Which is so cool. And the fact that Ray's Rowdy's in that building, and that's Nikki T's somebody that's been riding and dying with you. And then Ryan's downstairs recording the records, and you guys got business being there. And Tyler's living there.
Our tour manager lives there. So
Tyler's
headquarters.
He's not just your tour manager. He's your tour manager, your production manager,
your
front of house.
Everything.
He wears a lot of hats. It is funny to see, from when Ryan was just using the studio space in the beginning of, somewhere. It was called 4115, and it was in East Nashville or whatever. And then he bought this house and built the studio. And we recorded in that house in every phase of the studio. So it was just a house at one point, and then he built the live room, and then he moved to another house, and now we rent the house from him. We rent the entire house from Ryan, and like you said, it's like,
and now
Nick Ray's Rowdy lives there. Our tour manager / PM lives there.
Yeah, and then there's a session going on all the time there. Then it's not even Ryan a lot of the time. It's just some other people. But it's been cool. Shout out to Ryan and the Amber Sound.
He's a grinder, man.
Ben Chapman just did his live record there.
Ben Chapman, and the Tyler Halverson stuff.
Yeah, we did Tyler stuff there. And so it's a lot of cool stuff coming out of there. And I hope more and more people just keep coming to that and realizing that you don't have to have the A-list studio to go cut a record. And
you can if you want, but you definitely don't have to.
But we just with this record, by doing it with Ryan, doing it with our band, we weren't on the time clock of we
gotta hurry up.
We gotta hurry up because we spent so much money on this.
We only get 4 days,
right? And that was one thing we kind of got burdened with was we're like, man, the part we are rushing is the most important. It's imagine you sit and write a song and it sits in a Dropbox file for a year and you're playing it at rounds and you're sitting in your bedroom playing it over and over. And then you go to the studio with these incredible session players and they finish it in 2 hours. And
how does that compute?
So, and I was just like, man, the thing that matters the most is the music. And that's really kind of, we had that come to Jesus too in 2020 when we were just like, man, the music's what drives everything. Yeah. It's not a TikTok trend. It's not even a live show because the music's going to get people to the show. And so
forever.
You need to have a great live show because you want them to come back. But pushing the needle, moving all the pieces, it starts with the music, and we lose sight of that a lot. It's just we got a hit here, and we'll go and cut it whenever. It's just so on this record. I mean, it was a 6-week process.
We cut it twice.
Yeah, we did the record twice.
You what? You did it twice?
Yeah. So we came in with the guys, and we were like, let's pretend this is the record. This isn't just a demo. We'll nitpick later. It's no, we're nitpicking now. And then let's go home for a couple, 2 or 3 weeks, stew on some things, literally live with it and then come back. And it's funny too, because now you go play it live and then you end up with things mostly with vocal phrasing.
There's still a couple things you want to change.
You're just man, I wish we would have changed that. But it's just but you get it to a point where you're just man, this is, you've done the due diligence, and it's okay, now put it out there. And
well, that was one of the mistakes I feel that we made in the beginning, just speaking on what he said about rushing the process, because we didn't have the money to make it in the beginning. It was we're stretching our last dollar to make these records now.
How much was Porch Swing Angel again?
Oh, boy, you guys spent $500.
$500 in Ryan's garage at the time.
Yeah, oh yeah. But learning from that, it's I mean, there's even things on Porch Swing Angel if we could recut it, it wouldn't be like that. We would recut it differently, probably. But it's
probably wouldn't write that song today. To
right,
be honest.
Right. So it's thankful for everything and every mistake and every pass and every part of the journey. But it's there's so many times in our career where we went back and later on we're like, man, like I wish we would have changed that on the record or whatever, and we don't really have that conversation about Porch Swing, but it's like there's plenty of our other records and stuff where we're like, man, that could have been better. And that's the part we're trying to perfect and stay away from, and like hopefully never have that conversation again. You know? As creatives, you're always going to hear something and make it want it to be better, but we try our best to get it right the first time.
Now, how many years have you guys been like not having to come down to this part of town now? You guys got out of the publishing deals when? That was like right when I joined up with you.
End of 18.
End of 18, yeah, because I joined up with you guys summer of 19.
It was like right before we put out Enemy, which I think was in like December of 18.
Yeah.
So that was when we got. So that was a big though. Putting it that because that song obviously was you guys singing about some real shit that was going on with y'all personally. Y'all kind of really kickstart the independent thing at that point, like 2018 to 2019, right before COVID. That's some wild stuff going on for you guys back then, huh?
Yeah, there was, and there was still a lot to figure out, I think. And I think we were just
puppies, man.
Yeah, we were like we'd gone to. We had a publisher at Creative Nation, great people. The Lairds are awesome. And, they took a chance on us, and that really helped us out at first. And then we kind of just were like, man, like, it's all about finances. And at that point, we just didn't need the capital. And we saw ourselves, I think, this is just Charlie might not agree with this, but maybe someone can resonate with this listening. But I think a lot of times, like, having a publishing deal and writing 4 times a week, that is a smoke and mirror game of making you feel like you're busy.
Yeah.
And then going on the road every weekend like you guys were.
And then you're like, oh, wait, when do we go and record these songs we've been writing?
When do you go record content?
Yeah. When do we do content? When do we come up with better merch and that sort of thing? And we just kind of changed our priorities, and that's when it really kind of started moving. And then actual money started coming, and that's like, oh, okay, well, we can actually, do this stuff by ourselves. And really that was our option, because we went through the whole, like, hey, here's these EPs we made with Luke Laird, and no labels were biting on them. So we're just like, all right, well, we just got to act like no one's going to help us. And then now here we are in 2023, and it's just like, we ain't looking for help. We're just going to keep doing what we do.
It's too far gone now.
Yeah, so it's
we can't just know too much and own too much and just.
Yeah, and there's so many other artists that have done. There's other artists that have done that before you guys, like BJ Barham with American Aquarium, and a lot of the guys that are out of the Texas scene, and like there's strong independent things, and you guys are carrying that torch now. And now with the way streaming is and the way social media is, you really can do it all yourself if you're able to put in the grind. Which you guys have a work ethic that I think is unmatched. I think the fact there's 2 of you takes it to another level as well.
Yes. But I mean, to be honest, like, you start realizing, like, there's a lot of legwork in the beginning, but we kind of got to a point now where it's like, I'm not saying we don't do nothing, because we still do a lot, but it's like, it's at a pace that's not going to kill you. And
it's not as much, I would say it's not as much pressure to like just get up to get up. Like in the beginning, it was like, how can we just get up and work? And now it's like way more calculated. It's way more like aimed at a certain goals, instead of just being like, hey, let's just get up to get up, and if we make some cool content, like whatever, it's like, nah, like, luckily we have a income stream, or 3 or 4 of them in our business, and it's great. And it's like, but it's like, okay, well, now we can take a calculated mindset to it, and it's like, okay, let's really dive into this merch thing more. Like, all right, let's take a day and care about that. All right, let's take a day and write 2 songs. Like, we wrote 2 songs yesterday, and then it's like days like today, okay, let's take a day and go do some promo stuff, like IE podcasts and stuff like that, instead of just getting up to get up. I think that's been one of the biggest changes. It's like, you don't have to spend as much time, I would say, like, you don't have to spend 8 hours a day doing it anymore.
Yeah.
It's like you're able to take a step back and worry about the bigger picture instead of the little. Yeah, which is the hardest transition to make. But
and you guys are at a point now where you're both happily married. You're both in houses, not sharing an apartment or split shit renting a room from someone. Like, y'all are doing the damn thing.
Money alleviates a lot of problems, in every business and marriage, like whatever. So it's just kind of like, it's just when you get to a point where you're like, okay, like we're comfortable. And so it's like, there's not much more I desire. And so it's like, our kind of thing is now, it's like, dude, if it gets no bigger than this, I don't care.
We can make it work.
Y'all are in a damn tour bus now with a crew.
So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, man, like, if it don't get better than this, that's okay. Like, this is awesome. So it's kind of like
the drive, and you always wants to make it better. But
so it's just like that mentality of like being content with where you are and running your own race, but yet still like. I mean, obviously, we want more people at shows and more people to come to the table and listen to music. And it's just like, it just takes time, and our journey's different than every single person's. So,
it's like, it comes down to like 2 or 3 things. It's like, okay, try your best to make a better record every time. It's like, that's the main priority. And like, we've started to figure out, it's like, if you put every single marble you have, every chip in your basket in the record, it's like a lot of the other stuff will take care of itself. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, and you still have to care, but like, the record is the blood running through your body, you know, and then like, your arm is the merch, and then your leg is the touring, and you know what I mean? It's like, without that heartbeat pumping it all through there, there's nothing, you know? So if you care about the record, a lot can take care of itself.
Yeah, something I've gotten to experience over the last few years, and I got to experience a little bit with you guys. My first shows with you boys were in the Deep South, were Huntsville and Macon, and then Boaz and Heflin. I got a real good taste of Roll Tide, War Eagle, all that stuff. And then the last few years, I've obviously been out with Trey, and so I've gotten to know the Alabama scene a lot. I've gotten to experience it down there.
2 Alabama acts, you know.
Yeah, two up until recently, 2 independent Alabama acts, like doing it very grassroots, where Trey's. To the way that it was run, he said the same man, like everything was based out of Birmingham.
It's like a family style,
which just like how you guys were, and or how you guys are, and it's like I've gotten to kind of appreciate the scene that's out of Alabama. Like going back to when you guys were doing it, when Riley was doing it, and when what was it, Wayne Mills, I think is the OG down there, and Jamie Johnson and guys and girls that have been coming up for years. How important do you think it was to come up out of that scene and have those times playing those bar gigs at Moe's Barbecue, playing at Sky Bar, playing those frat parties? Like, you guys made a living doing that for a long time. I feel like that's what elevates the live show and elevates you guys as entertainers, because you learn how to play those rowdy places.
It's just that 10,000 hours, man.
I think like, you know, it doesn't feel as important now because like, you know, you're playing bigger shows and stuff, but it's, you know, when you look back, it's like, you know, playing cover songs, like for better or worse, you're learning how to entertain a crowd. So like, that's definitely something that's, you can tell when people have cut their teeth into bars, and like, you can tell, like, you can also tell when people haven't.
Yeah.
So it's like,
there's a lot of guys and girls that haven't.
Yeah. For better or worse, it's like, do I wish we could have played the bars less probably? And like, yeah, for sure. Like everybody does, but I think it was so important to learn that way and fail that way, you know, because, you know, even before we were playing together, it's like I was playing in the bars for 3 or 4 years, making a living without a job, you know. So it was like, yeah, I was thankful for that. But I mean, no one ever became famous off playing cover songs. So I think making that transition is
tough because you sometimes get stuck. It's the same kind of thing as like a guy moves to Nashville and starts playing on Broadway, and it's like, okay, now he's playing 4 or 5 days a week on Broadway, and there's no time
making cash, you know,
making money,
making good money,
but it's like at what expense?
Yeah, well, that's what I think separates being in that having that local kind of circuit, because you guys in a way were touring where you weren't in the same place for multiple nights, and like you weren't playing like the guys that play Broadway. They're on Broadway 7 days a week.
Perception is reality.
Yes.
I mean, like we kept busy. Yes. We weren't necessarily touring, and they weren't sexy gigs, but we were playing different towns.
You guys were Huntsville to Birmingham to Montgomery to Auburn to Tuscaloosa,
Mississippi.
It's just like you guys were
Atlanta.
We had about 10 cities that we were rotating in.
Yeah, which to me is just it because there's guys and girls that are coming up now that have that experience too, and it's something that I see because I get to look at these folks firsthand when they come up. They're all like, "Hey, how do we get on your round?" And I get to see them as they come up, and you can see the folks that are really green and the folks that have kind of done it. And
it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, but I've gained a lot of appreciation for that scene of Alabama, Georgia, the 65 South, Peachtree, all the folks that are down. Like I've gotten to see it. And you guys were kind of at the
all of them.
Yeah, you guys were kind of at the forefront. Like that era of that 2015, 2016 was when that scene was exploding with you guys, with Riley, with Luke, like people are coming out of that. So it's cool
we all
to see.
helped those guys like create the 65 South logo. You know.
I think a cheat code that we take for granted is that now that we are in Nashville, when we first moved here, all of our gigs weren't that far away. So imagine you're
Imagine being from Wisconsin. Or something,
and it's like you can't just run up to Milwaukee, and then run back to Nashville really quick. So it's like that was one thing we did in the beginning. I remember like Charlie and I were switching off vehicles, and we would literally tour our way to Mobile, Alabama, and then we'd stay at our parents' house for a couple of days and have some family time, and then we tour our way back to Nashville, come up here for 2 or 3 days, right, and then it was back again. It was just up and down 65 so that was a blessing, like that I don't take for granted at all, because we could just hop in the truck on a Wednesday and be in Auburn in 4 hours. It wasn't and then you only got to go to Birmingham.
We are lucky our scene was close.
It's like it's almost kind of a catch-22 or a juxtaposition kind of, because I think a lot of Alabama is so used to just like every bar has live music.
Yeah, which we don't have that in New York
at
all.
So
most places don't have it.
So what we see is like when you go show up to South Dakota, and when you show up to Oklahoma, Iowa, or wherever where there's just not that. Hey, every night of the week there's just someone bar, playing. Someone's playing low places, somewhere.
Yeah.
And so it's like they really come out and they're super excited. And then like, not to discredit Alabama or the South, because there's a cool culture there, but it's like we see more people excited in other places than the South. It's kind of been funny.
They don't have the oversaturation.
Right, because every night of the week, someone's playing at Zydeco,
in Tuscaloosa, there's 10 bars that have live music.
Right, every night.
It's like, take your pick. Like, they don't have to go like, oh, this guy's playing. It's like, oh, we'll just hear the same songs
We'll bounce to Gillettes, and then go to rhythm, and then go to this, and then go to that. Yeah.
That's
we used to stay at our buddy John Wayne's house, and we would literally play 3 gigs at 3 different bars in Tuscaloosa every night. It's like
we would only advertise one of them.
Yeah.
Because
what were the 3? What was the
mostly it was like Red Shed and
Gillettes.
Gillettes. Those were the two big ones.
But that was another hack that was like we would only promote one of them.
Yeah.
So it's like the other 2 were just paychecks. It's like, oh, well, let's just promote one so it doesn't look like we're just like playing the same town over and over. Yeah. It's like life hack, just promote your favorite one and then just play the others and just get the check.
Because in reality, no one really cared anyway. So, but it made us, the perception is like, oh wow, they're like on the road.
And was that acoustic duo back then, or did you guys have Zolty at that point?
No, we didn't have Zoltan yet.
We didn't have Zoltan until like we were playing real like. I mean, it was after Portuguese Angel. It's like. He came out the first weekend. He came out was the weekend Shut Your Mouth came out. So it was like July or June of 17.
We were out with Corey
16
Smith
or something like that.
Yeah, and it was the route was Myrtle Beach and Orlando. So it was like, and we were driving.
No hotels.
We didn't sleep. I remember I drove all through the night from Myrtle Beach to Orlando.
When you're following a bus, like it's like, in our van, it was like, oh, we usually try to keep it around like 6-hour commute limits because it's like you have to sleep.
Yeah,
and if you're in the van, you're really not sleeping. So it's like we literally were following the van. It was basically 10 hours, 10 hours, 10 hours, and we took a nap. I remember we took a nap in Orlando. The morning before the show, and that was it. Like we like slept a little bit.
That was
and then didn't have the money, so we drove back
that was Zoltan's first gig.
And he's still with you.
Yeah. I mean, he like came out. I remember he's talked about it like in a funny way, many times. He was just like, bro, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. Like he was like, that was a gauntlet first weekend.
And you know what's cool is Zoltan has never had to sub a gig. Ever.
Really?
Yeah, he's got one coming up and he's really upset about it but he's getting married.
He's getting married.
Yeah, but it was kind of cool because like you're like, oh, dude, he's been with us 6 years.
I mean, he's one of the most loyal guys.
And he's been through regime changes and a bunch of stuff. Like and he's
agent changes.
Still the course, but we love Zoltan.
Yeah, he's seen it all. And then you guys met because he was the session?
Yeah, so Ryan hired him to come play percussion on Portuguese Angel because we were like, man, like we had recorded the guitars and the vocals and stuff, and he was like, wow, I kind of want to let's see if we put some percussion on it. And he was like, I just know this guy down the street, he'll do it for cheap.
They did it for like $25.
And Zoltan was new to town too, so he was just like, I'll just do it. It was like 25 or 50 bucks.
And then when we needed a drummer, he was the only one we knew. So seriously, he happens to be an incredible drummer. So
it's from Mendocino, California, coming off teaming up with them boys from Alabama. That's fucking wild, man.
Yeah, dude.
It is
He's
wild.
Still there, baby.
It's crazy looking back on a lot of that stuff. And obviously like the shows, like was it weird coming out of COVID and getting back to it? Like, did you guys see kind of a weird thing?
We just got so used to not playing. I think that like, I don't think it was like weird. Like I was excited to come back for sure, but it also like just felt so strange because we had never like since for me it was like 2011. I'd never been home that much in my entire life. So, I mean, for real. Yeah. So it was like, it was even like a learning experience for Gary and I. And like, I remember reading like me and Mallory, it was like, we're spending so much more time together than we usually did. And we were just like, what's going on? Like, this is so weird. We're having to learn like how to be together more. And like, it was just I think that was the biggest adapting thing is like, got used to being home, which we do like being at home.
Yeah.
And we have that was one thing of being there more.
Yeah,
now,
that was one thing we learned from that. It's like, oh man, like, because I think just like everybody after, everyone got back to live shows, it was kind of like we had to hit the ground running and we were playing catch up. And so it was like, and then I remember that first year, it was like, I mean, literally we came back and we were like, dude, like, I think it was, I guess it would have been
2021.
2021.
No, it was 2022.
Yeah, we took a 6-month break. We just
but 2021 was like pretty busy too.
What are you guys doing? Like the shows where there was like the limited capacity and like the mass, like the spread out.
We did do those.
Yeah, which was stupid. Like
it was weird.
It
was a weird vibe.
It was one of those things where it's like I remember our first show was the San Antonio Rodeo, and it's this huge arena, and it's like a 10,000 cap arena, and obviously we were like just the entertainment kind of thing. There wasn't 10,000 people to see us, but it was only 10% capacity. So you have this 10,000 person arena or maybe more, and 1,000 people are in there. And I remember we do our thing at Portrait Manager, like put the lights up, and it's just like this bearing little like
it's like stars in the sky,
twinkles.
It wasn't cool.
It wasn't a sea of lights.
Yeah, so it's just like, and then you realize like, oh wow, when they turn the lights off, you didn't really realize because there was no one in the pit. I guess in the pit or the rodeo arena, or the
the horse arena,
and so it's just everybody in the stands, and we just like look up and they're like we see it, and it's like, oh wow, there's not many people here. But then the very next night we go to Oklahoma City. I can't remember.
I don't know how you remember this.
I don't remember what that room was called.
Diamond Ballroom.
Yeah, Diamond Ballroom, and we were like,
it was a cool room.
Yeah, we were just, and it sold out like really quick, and we are like, oh dude, like everyone's jacked, and it was half capacity, but it was just like the room holds like 3,000 people, so 1,500 people were there, and it was just 1,500 people cluttered up at the front.
They weren't social distance.
So we were just like, just release more tickets, man, like whatever. So it was a weird thing, but I think at the end of the day, everyone just had the itch to play. So anything to play, I didn't care. I was just like, whatever. Like if people got to sit at a round table and have to be in a, barricaded off circle or whatever. You're just like,
at the end of the day, it was like, okay, we can actually make money again. It's like we weren't making money on the road for a long time.
Yeah.
It was an adjustment.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, and then coming out of COVID, or coming out in like the last year, a big thing for you guys, a big kind of for telling the Muscadine Bloodline story. Me on You is like a big moment in this chapter of where you guys are at right now. Like, where did that all kind of come from? Because that's you two and Ryan on that song, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's country as hell. Like it's just awesome.
The writing process was pretty unconventional for what we usually do, but we kind of got on this tear where I was just going to the studio and just laying down riffs. And so I had the riff for Me on You, and then we were like, well, let's just write these like banger choruses and then just like let them sit and we'll come back to write them. So that was one of them. Ryan and I were there, and we just started writing the chorus, and we wrote the chorus and then showed it to Charlie. I remember he came to my house. We were sitting at my kitchen table, and I was like, dude, I think this is really cool. And then Charlie, he's like, dude, what if we started out like no instruments, anything? It was just like this line, and it was something like, girl, I hope your daddy doesn't own a gun.
It's like, I don't know why I was thinking that, but
that's you're doing to me. And then and then the beat drops, and we're like, oh, this is special.
We're like, okay.
And then we got to thank TikTok. 6 seconds TikTok video just pops off, and we had no idea. And it's just like, I mean, Trey had the same thing, right?
Yeah.
A big, viral moment, and
that you don't expect,
right?
At all,
and you can't, and
not planning it,
and it's tough because I think now like everyone is chasing a viral moment, and that like elevates the the whole sphere of
it makes it harder to do it. I mean,
and so it's like, and then you're like game planning for something to go viral, and it's just like you can't plan on that. It's just like it just happens.
So it has to be so.
And
organic.
so, but you taste a bit of that, and you're like, oh, dude, how do we get that again? You know, so.
And we haven't. So
yeah, we haven't. But that was the first song we put out off this record, and so it set the bar like really high.
It did a lot. It did a lot. I mean, that's one that people just.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't felt that
to
the max. Like we've felt like, I guess what I would consider like we had a break in the beginning with Porch Swing, but we didn't have as many fans then. So like what felt like a break to us then was like, oh, we can sell like 100 tickets now or whatever, like in 20 markets, you know. But it's like, you know, Me on You happened, and it was 6 years, 6, 7, even more years later, and it's like. Now you already have hundreds of thousands of people that listen to your music, you know, which is great. You've built it that far, but now it's like it spreads quicker because it's like this compounding interest of all the years you put in, and then it's like, oh, you have a viral moment in year 7. You know, you're like, okay, like this is crazy. You've never seen this many people come to the table at one time.
Over 2 million monthly listeners, I think, right now for you guys, which is
it's crazy.
It's massive.
Yeah, I mean, really our rise is kind of like you start Porch Swing Angel, boom, we're here, and then we just rode that barely climbing up for about 6 years, and so it's like, I mean, we just put in our time. We were playing 150. 170 shows a year, and it was just like you see a crowd go from
too many shows.
Way
like
too
a
many.
Suicidal amount of shows.
It ain't quite BJ and American Aquarium, but
No.
it's pretty dang close.
I don't care what anybody says, bro. That dude is psychotic. Like
he's fucked up.
The amount of shows they play is crazy.
See, and now they play less shows, but he just goes. He'll go out on like a 20-day run and plays 19 shows in 20 days.
Yeah, and we still joke with him. We're like, you're psycho. I don't know how you do it.
He came to our show in Raleigh, and he's like, yeah, I'm at home for 2 months, and then we'll go back and just hit it hard for 20
I mean, it's
days.
an efficient way to do it. If you could actually like Gary and I's voices wouldn't hold up for 20 days in a row. There's no possible way. I don't know. Maybe, I guess after so many, you'd probably build up some sort of tolerance, but we've never done more than like 5.
The break almost kills you, like every time, because like then you just like for us, and that's our thing. Like we got to sound good, like and
after 3 days of belting it, like You're
like,
shot.
You almost feel bad sometimes for the Thursday show because you're like, man, because in our heads, like subconsciously, we know we got 2 more nights of this.
Like I can't blow it out.
Like Saturday always gets. Like you
give
just,
it all.
You just let it hang out.
That was how it felt. It was a Friday on that run I was out with you guys that night in Charlotte. I mean, no disrespect to Richmond or Raleigh. Those shows were great.
Incredible,
too.
yeah.
And maybe it's biased because I actually got to be in the room watching
true.
you
That
guys.
definitely-
is true.
that
I
definitely helped you.
was on a fucking platform. I had the best view.
You were
in the
like,
house.
I'm watching
I was
this.
like, yo, I'm seeing the boys.
Yeah.
And you guys have gotten to take out some cool things. You guys spent a lot of time as openers and as support. And you have some big stuff coming up this year with Mr. Eric fucking Church, which is pretty wild and got to be crazy. But you guys are now in the position of bringing out your friends, like bringing out people that you believe in, like Tyler, like Ben and Meg, like Nate Frederick. I know is going to be coming out, and some like
folks going to be some of his first shows.
Yes, like folks that you guys believe in. Like, how cool is that now?
I think it's cool because just kind of how we built this thing. A lot of times, like in the old days, it used to just be like, hey, who else? At the booking agent we were at, it's like, okay, who else is on the roster or whatever, and then you might not even like the music, and it might not be a good fit, and so we're just kind of, now that we built
we don't like
this,
that.
It's more so just like, who are we fans of, and who, because our fans are very like, okay, if they're playing with Muscadine, like we'll be fans too.
They're a cult,
right?
Your fans are.
It protects our own credibility to bring out great people. Like if we don't like the people, you know, your fans can tell.
Yeah.
Like you saw some of that with us. It's like, not mentioning names, but it's like some people will come out or whatever, and like our fans will even be like, who are these people?
Yeah, why are they on tour with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's cool. There's a lot of cool, awesome artists coming out. Like we had Cole Chaney out. Really dig his stuff.
Yeah, he's killer.
Ben was with us for
Ben feels like a little brother to us now.
I know. We love Ben, and he's just so fun. And we were in a place, we can't do it anymore because we're tapped out on the bus, but it made it easier because we were just like, dude, just ride the bus with us, whoever, and it's like save some cash on travel because we get it, we've been there, like,
and people did that for us. Like,
and so it's
Kip did that for us, and Luke Combs has done that for us. It's like, damn, it'd be nice to let some other people help them out. Like, hey, come ride for free.
It's hard to ask someone to come open the show for, in Texas and drive for. I mean, those opening slots, y'all probably done them. It's not you don't do it for the money, you do it for the exposure.
Yep.
But it's like, I mean, I remember we went on a tour with Whiskey Myers for like 6 weeks or 8 weeks, and we lost like $30,000. But the exposure was great.
Yeah, it helped grow in the
right. So it's like, you know, it's just
an investment.
It's right. It's just a cost of doing it, and so that leads back to the same kind of conversation of, you know, people staying in the bar gig because it's like, man, I already got, you know, this bar gig on Wednesday night at Sky Bar pays more than any opening slot we were getting duo acoustic, you know, coming up.
I can tell you like a funny story about Bradley Jordan. You know, it's like, and he's one of our favorite people in the whole industry. Like, love that dude. He's one of the pioneers of, you know, booking young artists.
And he's the best A&R in.
Yeah. I mean, and like in the beginning, you know, he took a shot on us, and like, I had like a friend reach out to him, was like, check these people out. And he did. And like, he like listened to our music and everything and started putting us on shows. And it was that same transition moment that Gary was talking about. It was like, he was like, hey man, like, I want to book you guys a show at Bourbon Street in Auburn, which is like Auburn was one of our, you know, quote unquote bigger markets at the time. But it was like, it's going to be, you know, for example, it's like, okay, it's going to be $500 guarantee, but like, it's like, I know you're getting paid $1,500 over here, you know, at Sky Bar, but it's like, it's going to $500 guarantee, but we're going to give you 80% of the door. You know, so, but at the time, like, that just doesn't compute to us because we're just like, more cash is here. This is way bigger of a risk.
When you got to eat, you're like, man, like, I don't want to take risk.
Yeah. And he was like, look, dude, like, I promise you, he was like, we're going to at least put 300 people in the show. You're going to leave with more money than you made at Sky Bar. And I remember even the first time he offered us the thing, we were like, no, like, we're just going to keep doing the thing.
Sky Bar's just the spot. It's just an electric atmosphere.
It's an ego boost because, like, you just feel like people care, but they don't really know who you are. Like, as long as you're playing what's cool, it doesn't matter. But like, we finally, you know, he finally convinced us. He's like, dude, trust me, like, being a hard ticket act is God. It's everything in this business. Try it. And we finally tried it, and we were like, and we made more money that night. It wasn't like $10,000 or some shit, but it was like, you know, like a couple thousand or whatever. And you're like, oh man, like, you're right, you know? And like, that was our first taste of being like, okay, you got to risk. You have to risk in this business you're going to lose in the beginning. You have to lose to win. You know, it's not just going to be a sexy guarantee every show you go play. And now that you're worth hard tickets, it's almost even worse being like, hey, I don't want a guarantee. I'd rather just take the risk and, you know, take the 100% of the door or 80% of the back end.
Well, that's so much of y'all's story is betting on yourselves and doing it how you want to. Like, you guys are the door deal of country music. Y'all bet on yourselves, and y'all are fucking but and I mean that in like the absolutely best way possible, because y'all bet on yourselves and are doing it your way.
Better than the doorknob.
Better than being the doorknob. Everybody's fucking grabbing on and shit.
For real, dude. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's this shit ain't that deep. Like, that's the reality of it. It's when we prioritized it, because I'm the head case of the group. Like, I'm the one. It's like, always stressed about everything. And Charlie's great to level me out. It's a great.
And he levels me out because I'm like, I can relax a little too far sometimes, and he'll pull me back to like, hey, let's keep grinding. You know, so like, all right, thanks.
It's a great partnership and great yin and yang, but. Yeah, it's just kind of one of those things where we were just like, man, like, this extra stuff just don't matter. Like, and there's just stuff I don't want to do, and there's stuff he don't want to do, so we ain't going to do it. So it's kind of like, okay, let's just do what we want to do, and what we want to do is make really good records and then go play that record.
It's like, hey,
really
I don't want to
well.
go do the local TV thing. Like, I just don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. It's just like, what does it add, you know?
Well, also, I think your fans don't. That you guys have such a diehard fan base, and I had always remembered that, but then going out and subbing for y'all this last run was. I forgot how.
It was probably a cool like moment for you because you're like, well, I left and saw these shows, and it's like I see them on social media.
You've probably been to Charlotte with us before.
I have. I've been to Coyote
It's like,
Joe's,
I know they're doing good, but it's like when you get to see the fans and like see the show, I feel like it helps put it in perspective.
I saw the damn merch numbers. Like, I'm a good merch salesman, but it ain't all me. People are loving, man. It's a movement.
Yeah.
People love having. Like last night, for example, at Live Oak, I saw two separate hats. I saw the black, the one with the grapevine, and then I saw the the turkey hat, the one with the turkey feather on it. Just people around Nashville even wearing the merch. Like, it's
cheat code, take it for what it is, but a lot of these acts in town don't pay attention to merch, and
they're dumb.
It's like, what do you want? You want someone to equal? You got to get what freaking 1 million streams to about get what it costs to get, someone
Sell
to
a
purchase a
t-shirt.
t-shirt.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
man, dude, like I don't care if they buy records. If they want to buy a t-shirt, so be it.
Yeah,
So,
don't leave millions on the table by
Yeah.
not giving a shit.
Yeah,
I mean,
when I-
because people don't, and then you start seeing those things, and I mean that's a testament to honestly having a good salesman in you. And then when Brad came in and we took, because we do all our merch in house,
Yes.
and so it's not like a bigger company or whatever doing it. Like Brad ships it out from the house.
Yes, he does.
And so
I was there for. I saw release week.
Yeah.
I saw those.
FedEx,
It was
UPS,
madhouse in
they
there.
hate his ass. But it's one of those things where we started paying attention, and it's just like having a guy who wakes up every day and all he thinks about is how can I better the merch for Muscadine, and it's just like. I don't even care if they like Muscadine Bloodline. I want people to buy a T-shirt that they think this T-shirt is cool.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I mean, obviously I want them to like Muscadine, but I mean, like,
yeah.
I just mean like I would rather have some bystander just walk by and be like, oh,
That's cool.
That shirt or hat is really cool, and
Yeah.
I'd wear that.
Well, I think the design's cool, but I think also too, just the fans, just people buy into what you guys are about and what the sound is. Whether that's the sound from 5-6 years ago, or that's the current Teenage Dixie stuff that's out right now, and like it's really cool to see and watch you guys build what you have.
And I think that's also too. It's like, man, you want people to be fans of you. Like you want them to be fans of music, but you want them to be like our brand is tangible. It's always been that. We're on social media. We're the ones responding. We do free meet and greet after the shows still. When it's like, even sometimes it's a headache. We'll be out there for an hour or so, and it's like
sometimes you're sick and tired.
yeah,
and
it's like, but it's like, man, this like, what's going to set us apart? If another artist is playing in town, what are we willing to do that they aren't willing to do, that those people will be like, oh, those are pretty cool guys.
And the crazy thing is that it's not that hard.
No, it's not.
There's a lot of things that are very easy that artists neglect to do just because they don't want to do it, which is fine. Like I respect it. If you don't want to do it, that's fine.
Yeah.
But we're willing to do the stuff they don't want to do.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things that's to us is like, it's not about the money. It's like I just want people to like be fans. Like that's how you retain people and create a culture to where it's like they're just some normal dudes who have a different occupation than us, and they just get on stage.
Yeah, like your fans will be out in the golf course very soon, just like you will.
Yeah,
They're going to be out in the woods calling those damn turkeys.
Yeah, man.
Maybe not going all the places that you're going to because
Yeah.
you're about to travel the country. So we were talking on the way up here.
Yeah.
How many states are you trying to hit this year?
I got 10 on the list. So I got.
So there still has to be a little magic in there. It's
Yeah.
like,
What? So Tennessee, Alabama.
No.
he's already got those, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're not even going back to the honey holes. You're doing
Yeah,
10
I'm just going to new places.
Yeah, so tell them what you're trying to do. Like,
Well, so there's a thing called the Super Slam, and it's to kill one in the 49 states that have turkeys. And so I'm 15 in. And so it's like, honestly, it's like my wife is super, like, she's great because she knows it's a passion of mine. And it's like, it's kind of a tough thing because, like, okay, we get off the road and then I'm still gone.
He's like, see ya.
Yeah. So, but it's kind of one of those things, like, I'm really passionate about it, and I want to get it in while my responsibilities are at the minimal, because there's going to come a day where I got a couple kids running around. You can't just like run amok in spring all
See
turkey
you guys.
season.
until they're old enough to go out with
Right,
you.
yeah. If Barg, I have some boys or a young girl who wants to go, but because I probably want to go to dance recital and ballet
Coach the
and
baseball team.
and
Yeah.
cheerleading if I have girls, but if Ashley has anything to do with it, but no, yeah, it's just it's honestly a lot of planning, and it's not just like I just guess where I'm going. Like I've been planning for about 6 months.
So what's the tour? What's the start? How's this going?
Okay, if you want to hear,
I do.
I got South Carolina. We play in Spartanburg next Friday, and then from there I'll go to the south part of South Carolina because the whole state doesn't open at the same time. So I'll do that, and then we go to play with Turnpike in Tulsa, and then we're in Texas, and then actually Tulsa again. We're playing 2 nights with Turnpike, and then I'll fly back, go to Georgia. Then we're done. It's Ashley's birthday. Then I go to Illinois. And all these seasons have different parameters. They start different. They have different season dates. They have certain states you have to draw, so you have to put in for draws. So if you don't draw one state you're planning on going, that changes the plan.
You gotta have a backup plan.
So it's it's a bunch of this stuff. So then after that, after Illinois, Ashley has 2 bachelorette trips back-to-back weekends.
Perfect.
So I got
Perfect.
I got a 14-day run. That
girls think we hate that,
Yeah.
but we love it.
yeah. So I start in Delaware, and then depending on if I get done there. There's different parameters there. Like, you can't hunt on Sundays in Delaware, but you can in Maryland. So it's like, okay, well, so the plan, hopefully, it's Delaware, Maryland. I drew New Jersey, West Virginia. Skip over
pizza too,
skip over Virginia because North Carolina would be closing if I wait. So I'll go to North Carolina, come back, and then I got a weekend trip to either Virginia or Oklahoma. I don't know yet. And then I got a week trip with a buddy that does South Dakota and Minnesota.
You know what other slam you're doing that you don't even realize?
What?
Finding the best shitty gas station food, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Shitty gas station food. And let me know where you end up going in Jersey, because that is my neck of the woods. I'm guessing you're going to be in South Jersey, the Pine Barrens areas, where, because I don't think you can.
I'm not telling that.
I would know. Yeah, you're a hunter. Guys,
can't give away my spot.
That's like Trey with fishing. I ask him, like, hey, man, where are you going fishing? He's like, I can't tell you that. And I'm like, yeah, I know you can't.
No, so
but if you want pizza recommendations, cheesesteak recommendations, I got you.
Yeah, but no, it's fun. I honestly, I keep it pretty cheap because I have a camper shell and I camp in the back of the truck, and so and then I just bring a cooler of like deli meat bread and peanut butter and jelly, and so it's like I'm out there to hunt, not like I'm on a time.
He gets serious.
So it's
about
not like a hey, like, and I go by myself because if I had a lot of these places, because if I had someone else, we got to wait for them to kill one too, and I'm on a time crunch.
Yeah.
So it's
probably easier just to go by yourself.
Yeah. So I enjoy. Like I look forward to it, and it's coming up. Charlie's going to Mississippi this week to go hunt, so I'm jealous of him.
I turkey hunt is because of Gary.
Yeah,
but he's taught me how to do it.
I'm more FOMO because like he's going to get a turkey hunt before I am this year. But
well, maybe. Barring things go the right way. I've scared more turkeys than I've taken.
Have you gotten Gary on the golf course yet?
No, he won't go, man.
The problem is, Matt, is I can't just do. And I don't have hobbies, so it's like literally the only things I love in this world is my wife, writing music, and turkey hunting. So it's like that's how I spend my time.
He chooses wisely.
And so it's just like outside of turkey, because if I'm going to ask my wife to leave for that long, I better be doing all the honeydews. In 10 months, I'm doing whatever she wants to do or whatever.
But if you think about it, like the irony of it is like, if you combine all the days that he turkey hunts in the year, it's like that's probably an entire spring, summer, and fall of golf outings. Like seriously, it's like if you combine like the hours, you know what I mean. So it's like he just like picks his wisely because he's like he has to leave, to do it.
I just have passions, and like if I get on the golf course and like it, it's not going to just be something I can really.
He would like it. I mean, that's the thing. Everybody likes it.
It's kind of one of those things. It's like I'm not even going to dance with that devil because
well, he sees how sick I am for
it.
Like,
I mean, Charlie's. How many times you play a week now? Barring the weather.
Yeah, I mean,
barring what your wife will let you do.
When the weather's good and the day, like now the daylight savings, it's like I'm gonna. I walked 9 yesterday. I'm gonna try to walk 9 today. Yeah, it's like I mean, you can always go out there at 4 o'clock in the summertime, spring,
and you do it on the road.
Yeah. Well, sometimes not as much on the road, just because we do have like VIPs and stuff. But like, if there's a show where we don't have a VIP,
because Tyler and Taylor will go out with you and play too.
Yeah, half of our guys like to golf,
which is great. Yeah,
it's nice to just have like a couple guys that are like, hey, like we're going out to California or whatever in June. It's like, hey, let's go try to play one of these like iconic courses. Try to just experience it, and
you realize how much time you don't have. It's the special days when you have all the time in the world.
Yeah, it is.
It's because a lot of times
we
just don't have
busier
time.
than you think on the road.
It's like we sound check, and then the VIP experience. It kind of breaks your day up to where it's like you're segmented.
The hours are like awkward.
Like every 2 hours, you have something going on. So it doesn't make it conducive to be like, okay, we got here and we play at 9, so I can do whatever I want all day.
Right.
And maybe one day it'll be that, and that'll be sick. Charlie can play all the golf he wants.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I can coordinate some turkey hunts, before the shows.
I mean, I think if the situation was like perfect, it's like, the bus got there at 6 o'clock, and you could get a 7:30 tee time somewhere and still show up at sound check at 1 o'clock. But like, it's just you just never really know logistically concrete what's going to happen.
Yeah, because bus life has been good. I know you guys last year had some times.
Well, we had some times, but overall it was still a 10 out of 10
compared to the van.
We had a bus that broke down like every 3 weeks. And
shitty days on a bus are not as shitty as in a van. So
yes.
But this, knock on wood, this is for real.
Cowboy's your driver, right?
Yeah.
Well, we call him Cowboy. But
Yeah.
his name's Jason.
Jason.
Jason's great.
I was told by Tyler his name's Cowboy. So
I've never called him that.
I just called him Cowboy all week, and I feel bad. I'm sorry, Jason.
He does
if
kind of
you're
dress
watching
like a
this.
cowboy. Like
Yeah.
he's got he wears like the vests and like some like slick boots and stuff while he's driving.
Bus drivers are characters.
Oh yeah,
We've
he's
had
great.
we've had some characters with us. We've
So
had,
have we.
Oh,
we've had
brother.
Did you have anybody with nicknames? We had a guy named Cookie one
Well, we
time.
had Steve.
Yeah,
Steve was
Steve
our
was-
longest running driver.
And he was awesome, and he was an ex police officer, and just like he didn't talk unless he was like
asked
talk or you want to talk to him, and even then he was just short and sweet to the point, and he always did his thing, go, "Alrighty."
Like if you
So-
say like, "Hey man, Steve, I'm going to bed, man. Have a good night." You go, "Alrighty."
Alrighty.
Alrighty.
So now the whole group, we just all go, "Alrighty."
We miss Steve. Hope you're doing good, Steve. If you
Yeah.
watch this for some weird reason.
The last one I had with Trey was a guy named Danny, and we called him Daddy Dan. He was about 5'5".
the dude that would always like take his shirt off and shit.
Yes. He was like 5.
I always saw
he
it,
was
like, on your Snapchat story.
He was about 5'5", 5'6", about 250 pounds. Dude was a hoss.
I
from
met him that night because
Arkansas.
y'all do bus call right next to
Yeah,
us.
and he used to say, "Well," and then he would go, "Ain't that something?" And I would be sitting up there trying to talk to him, like, "Ain't that something?" And he would just waddle around. He'd be in the show and he was private coach, so he would just fucking drive. He would just go. He
didn't have no rules.
no,
that can be dangerous.
He wanted to be at the show.
Kind of like y'all's whole crew. There are no rules.
Yeah, it's just dangerous the whole time. Like,
Yeah, dude. Like
it's just craziness.
the things that I've heard that just the polar opposites, for better or for worse. It's just different. It's
There's
just
no
like,
right way to do it.
Yeah, we're the lamest band, like in the bus.
Yeah.
like
when
it's
when it comes to like socially, like
Yeah.
people would be like, "Man, I'd love to come on the bus and have a shot with y'all." I'm like, "Well,
Yeah.
we're not really drinking."
You can sip a LaCroix with me.
Yeah, exactly.
we go
Maybe
to-
smoke a cigar would be the worst thing.
Yeah.
Like,
I know we kind of go to bed at midnight and wake up and get 9 hours of sleep every night,
Yeah.
and it's just
like the boys just like drink beer and shit, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
for the most part, it's like everybody just chills. And
yeah.
we're all
there's
like
there's
30.
no rounding our guys up because
Yeah.
and also
Everyone's
too,
married.
Everyone-
yeah,
that
everyone's married and
helps.
has a
That
serious
helps.
girlfriend for
That
the most
helps
part.
too.
Besides
And-
Taylor.
Yeah.
Man, I
Sorry,
wasn't
Taylor.
gonna do that to him, but
Taylor, he's off the market.
Yeah, he's single. So Pringle.
Oh, he's single. Oh, he's single.
Yeah.
I was trying to find girls at the merch table for him. I've been
He's
good at
picky.
I've been good at mergers and acquisitions over the
he
last
likes
2
making
years.
the moves on his own.
He's
what
picky.
we found
He's
out.
picky. Yeah.
He don't
He
want
don't
you
want it
to.
to feel like it's set up.
Yeah, hey,
you
dude,
know?
I got some. Ashley's got a friend or Mallory's got a friend. Whatever. That's,
No.
Yeah, because you guys have probably tried. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, he's great, dude.
great.
One of the best.
He's a good guy. And you met him over playing Xbox.
Yeah,
Call
I
of
met
Duty.
him playing Call of Duty.
Call of Duty chat
Now he's
room.
one of my best friends.
He's a cool guy. I love Taylor.
He's a hard worker too, man. That guy
yeah,
knows
he's-
how to load a trailer.
He works
Yeah,
hard.
he's a
Busts his
grinder.
ass.
I mean, that's one thing. Like we run a pretty tight ship. I mean, it's fun. We have a good time out there. I don't want to get it twisted, but it's like our idea of fun is at 30 and married is not the same idea of fun when we were 22 and single.
Yeah.
So it's just a little different, and it's a work trip. We're out there to make fans, sell some merch, and play a really, really good show.
Yeah.
And so that's where our kind of priorities are. And then you get home on Sunday and you're like, wow, dude, I don't even feel tired or
Yeah, it's like
hungover.
I actually want to work on Monday.
Yeah, it's like, it's not like, pulling teeth to round up everybody or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's our home. So,
Yeah.
like, we like to keep it. We run it pretty clean. Tyler runs a pretty tight ship.
Yeah, it was clean. I like all the snacks that Tyler has on there too. Tyler is king.
Yeah,
of
we
it.
got-
Which I know
we
you
got
guys
some
are tough because y'all are always on the diet stuff.
We
You guys-
trying,
you
man.
guys-
We always trying to stay healthy, and they always bringing Twinkies.
We at
and
least go to the
pizza
gym
and-
every day. Like we'll have a Twinkie every now and then, but
Yeah.
we try not to.
those Lucky Charm breakfast bars.
Yeah, they be on there.
all the
Dude,
just-
Ty Bob knows how to buy snacks.
he
dog.
does, man.
Yeah.
That guy's the king of bus stop.
Yeah, dude.
He does very
There's always
well.
some damn Oreos or some shit on there.
When he's playing with the company credit card, he's like, "I'll try these."
He's like, "It's not my money."
That's what Sweet Boy does with Trey. He's got the Amex card and he goes in there. He was always our
Exactly.
bus stock guy. But so for the rest of this year, what else do we got? So we got time off right now. You're about to go in the woods. You're gonna be hitting the golf course, and then you guys are back out on the road.
Yeah,
you
we got
said.
we finish up. We got
Two more full weeks of
Yeah,
touring.
we got 5 shows left. We're in Athens, and then Spartanburg, and then
Tulsa,
Tulsa.
Texas.
Yeah, I don't
Tulsa,
even-
Texas, Tulsa.
Yeah, what's that?
Chili Fest?
Chili Fest. We're with
Somerville, maybe?
I think that's what it is. We're there with Jamie Johnson and
sick.
Giovanni.
Dude, what a combo. And that's like both sides of y'all's spec. That's one of the...
Yeah, it's kind of cool. We're like the middle, like...
the middleman,
of the spectrum, so it's cool. And then the shows with Turnpike are always kick-ass. And
they're always 15,000 people.
Yeah, so that's going to be fun. And and then we'll have our little break. And it's kind of funny. We always take kind of January off the road. It's pretty light. And so, but it wasn't a light work because we knew that, hey, we got this record coming up and then we're going to be off. So, like, let's get everything in order. So, once we do hit April, like, we can actually have a break or whatever. So, but yeah, we could get back up in June and through the year. And, you know, we're doing some new. We were doing our first like a real West Coast run.
Shout out to Zolty. Zolty's got to be excited about that.
Yeah,
yeah, they're all. I mean, I'm pumped too because it's like we've never played Seattle, Washington, never
like
played
LA,
LA, Oregon or Montana or whatever. So it's going to be really cool to be like, oh, this is kind of like the testing ground. I wonder what. And the tickets have been doing really. We're like holy crap! Like we didn't know we had that many fans.
People
have been
waiting for you to come out there,
right? So it's an ego stroke for sure. It's cool. It's like, man, Boise, Idaho's about to sell out. This is weird. Like never been there. So that's it's always a cool thing. But yeah, and then
people that don't get to see you very often are very excited to see you.
Yes. You know? And then we'll always hit the Southeast, and then we have the Teenage Dixie tour that'll announce in May, and then that'll be pretty much we do our summer thing, and we're going to be busy for the summer.
In like August,
yeah, it's going to start August, September, something like that through the year.
How crazy is the Eric Church thing? Doing 2 shows.
I mean, it's sick, man. I mean,
because you guys used to make money singing Eric Church songs, acoustic duo in a bar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now Eric's one of the goats. So I mean, there's not many times you get an opportunity to play with artists like that, and especially like there's certain artists that that are big that don't make sense for us, that I would say, but it's like there's a handful of them that are like bucket list guys that you're just like, oh shit, we're crossing this one off,
Yeah, like I remember when we changed booking agents, and it was kind of like, well, who are some big artists that you'd really want to play with? And it's like Turnpike, Eric Church, and Stapleton. We haven't got Stapleton yet, and I don't know if we ever will. That would be awesome. but it's literally like
those are like our bucket list.
Yeah, and it's like that's coming into fruition. That's really cool that we're getting to do that. And then it's like
it could turn into more. Like
we've done a lot of shows with Turnpike this past year, and they're great guys, and a lot this year. So they want to put us out on the road. I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, dude,
it's crazy. Sick, so it's cool, and that, like you said, same kind of artists who have very guarded fan bases of like, oh, if Eric likes this, if they're playing with Eric, then I'm a fan too. You know, same with Turnpike. So it's a cool thing, and those are I mean, for us, the Eric thing was just like, I feel like he's kind of picky choosy on who he brings out too. Yeah, so just even if whoever made that connection, whether it was him or not or whatever, it's just like the fact that we're on like that radar is really cool.
Thanks, shout out to whoever that was.
Yeah, so we're pumped about it,
and to be doing it independently.
Yeah,
it's
special, man.
That's a big deal, boys. Well, I appreciate you guys coming
on.
Thanks
for having
this
us, man.
Is long overdue.
Dude. We'll do it again.
Dude. Yeah, I mean,
it won't be a couple years.
This is light work, man. We love. I mean, you texted us yesterday about this, and we were like, "Man, we got nothing to do tomorrow. Let's see if they can do it."
Might as well.
Yeah, I was like, "I'll do it."
I called Matt yesterday. He was like, "Hey, what up?" And I was like, "Hey, you want to just do it tomorrow?" He's like, I mean, yeah. He's like, that's fine. Like, whatever. So he was like, what is your schedule like in the next month? I was like, what about tomorrow?
No, it worked out. So yeah, we're really blessed, man, and happy to see all y'all got going on too, man. And I know you're making the transition into civilian life.
Yeah, I'm in this. Well, I'm still going to like festivals now. I'm in the concert goer thing where me and Nikki T have like.
That's still a good thing.
Well, it's I get to like sit and enjoy the music. I'm not having to wonder if the food's backstage, if the settlement's right.
Yeah, you can just enjoy it how it's intended to be enjoyed.
Yeah, and then
where Sweet Boy is at.
Yeah.
Seriously, though, he'll get lost on you, bud.
Oh, he's great. But yeah, it's been good, and we've got a lot of exciting stuff coming with the Raise Rowdy thing, and in the round, or we'll be rebranding that soon too. So
yeah dude.
It's gonna be
by the way, I saw that. Was that y'all doing the butt rock thing?
Dude, butt rock
night. That looked hilarious.
That looked awesome. I saw Was it
Ryan
Ryan
and
and
SJ?
SJ? We're doing, and I'm broke.
Dude, that was one of the what? So we did it last year. It started as an idea where me and Nikki T, we went to Key West last year. We're going again this year, and we were on the flight. It was us and then Brian Frazier, his wife Holly.
That dude's a nut. He's hilarious.
Brian's
by
the
way.
man,
He's
and then Mikey Angert and Dean Purificato, who used to play with Tyler Braid, and they play a lot downtown. We were all stoned in the Atlanta airport, and we were like, hey. What if we did a butt rock event and then
because everyone loves butt rock, like they don't like to admit it.
You're a
but
hater
like,
if you don't, because there's some
like if you don't
jams.
like Nickelback and Creed and like
you're a hater.
So last
Seether,
year we did it and it went great, and then this year we were like, what if we did it on Nikki T's birthday as a Rowdy on the Row? And it lined up perfectly, and we had the house band. So it's like we have a house band of like Dean, Mikey, their buddy
so they were
Wes.
like live playing it, right?
Yeah.
So they played about I think 12 or 14 songs, and then Grady,
Live band karaoke, basically.
and then Grady Saxman and his guys came up and played about 8-9 songs, and we had like and then we ended up having McElwain and Sweet Boy actually made this connection. Our buddy, we have a buddy named Josh Terry who does podcasts as well. He's down in Georgia. He's a crazy bastard. But he happened
you keep those around.
I do. I have to keep my life interesting. I have a thing for the wild men,
crazy bastards,
the wild folks of the South. I do, man. Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi.
Just love them.
I do, man. I just attract them. I don't know what it is, but he's boys with the guys from Saving Abel. So Saving Abel,
I saw that.
They showed up.
I did see that.
They showed up and we're like, hey man, what song you want to sing? He's like, we want to sing a Three Doors Down song, and we're like, okay. And they hopped up and sang Kryptonite to close out the night. It was just
awesome.
fucking epic. The place was packed. We sold a lot of merch.
It looked like a lot of fun.
It was wild, and we'll definitely be doing it again. Nothing but rock night is what we call it. Nothing but rock
I
night.
like
Oh, nothing but rock.
Nothing but rock.
We got to figure out what our butt rock song is.
I was about to say, I ain't even gonna lie. I was kind of thinking about like what we would do, you know.
Like a crossfade song or something.
Dude, yeah,
Just cold.
I'm trying to think of like we had like because like the Godfather's like
Looking back at me.
Yes, yeah. Nickelback, Limp Bizkit, Creed, Hinder, Seether. Those are like the Godfathers. And then you throw in like Theory of a Dead Man.
Well, you have so many
Breaking
one-hit
Benjamin.
wonders. Like you have so many one-hit wonders in that. Like they're so gassed.
Stained.
Stained, yeah, dude, it was great.
Stained, not one-hit wonder, but huge.
Drew Dixon saying, "I'm on the outside, I'm looking in." Like it was fucking awesome. We had Jordan Rager saying "Click Click Boom" by Saliva.
And he probably like he's a nut too. Like he wild on stage, so he like jumps up and down.
Or go do like POD or something.
Yeah, oh dude, yeah. And it's whatever.
The youth of the nation.
And it's whatever the band's willing to learn. So it's up. We asked Dean and Mikey for a list of songs.
You say like, here's a list.
We all make a joint big Spotify playlist and put like, oh, this could be cool. Like we had Ella Langley sing "Bad Girlfriend" by Theory of a Dead Man, which was fucking awesome. We had girls singing "Flyleaf," "Hailstorm," fucking
Wake me up.
Yep, Evanescence, dude.
Oh,
Cassidy Daniels saying that shit.
Like,
dude, yeah, it was.
I don't know if that's butt rock, but
it fits. Like,
still good rock.
We had Avril Lavigne complicated on this one, which isn't quite butt rock,
but it's like pop butt rock.
Yeah,
Dude, I bet the crowd loves it though.
Yeah, it's the best rock and roll from 1998 to 2007. You know,
and we were raised on that.
Was it slammed in there too?
Oh, it was packed. Yeah, it was great.
We were raised on that, dude. Like that's why we all love it.
It was great. And then we had America's The Bestest Bar Crawl for Nikki T's birthday, which he's been doing since he was in Pittsburgh. So it's everybody's in green for St. Patrick's Day, and we're all in red. We're 30, 40 deep. We're in red, white, and blue, going to all the bars in Midtown, and it was just
Nikki
chaos.
T's he's so funny
He's
to
the man.
me.
He's the older brother I
can't
never
believe
had.
he hangs
you know?
like that still.
Yeah.
He does.
He's a legend.
What he did, he was smart. He went home at 8:30 on Saturday night, and I was like, Nikki, you got another hour.
Slept in hard.
We're at Red Door, and he's like, man, I'm fucked up. I gotta go. I'm like, dude, let's go sit outside. I'll have a cigarette. Like we'll sit outside, we'll chill. He's like, no, man, I gotta go home. And then he was perfect the next day. If he had stayed another hour, he would have been hurting on Sunday. But he was like, we had butt rock night the next night.
Dude,
we were
he's 40. He's
41.
Yeah, he's a pro, dude. Like he's gonna space it out right.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited to be doing some more work with him, going to festivals with
That's
him.
a good duo. It's a good duo, man.
And
He's got
his podcast stuff. We're working on getting some more podcast concepts going and
Yeah, we've done
and-
theirs before too.
Yeah, dude. And
Probably need to hop
it's-
back on that.
Yeah, and it's fun and it's cool what they do with Kurt being able to play on the songs. It's you have a world class musician. You have their interviews are a little bit different. Mine are a little more out of the box and wild because it's me.
Yeah.
But
No, I mean it's cool to see like guys who are just like you know, your past coming from radio, and then also too it's just being a fan and it's like finding your place here, and and Matt Burrill matters in Nashville, and so does Nikki T, and so it's really cool.
Shout
to
out
be
to you too, bro, because y'all were doing it before people were listening. Like,
it's just like you put in the time and effort, and now it's like. How we, and it's kind of weird because you're our buddy. So, but it's like how we looked at like Ward when we first moved to town. Like those guys moving to town, look at you and Nikki T I
gave out my number 7 times last night. Not a single one was to a girl. It was all to dudes wanting to play the round game on the podcast.
You're nice enough and genuine enough to like want to connect with them. It's not like you're just like blowing people off. Like,
what's in it for me? It's
exactly.
You're a champion for the people, dude.
You like to get to know people. That's one of your best attributes.
And you've never met a stranger.
No, I've never met a stranger. I've even talked to homeless people downtown when I worked down there. I'm so glad I don't work down there. Which, by the way, that's probably the biggest thing I got to thank you guys for. I mean, I've had great times with y'all, and the touring thing was a huge chapter in my life and all that. But you guys got me away from downtown, working security on Broadway, which is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me.
Cogwheel.
Oh, it was great, and but for real, boys, it was a pleasure having you guys today.
100%.
And
thanks for having us, man,
dude. And congrats on everything. Look forward to seeing what's coming the rest of this year.
Thank you.
Hope you get all 10 birds.
Hey, that'd be cool.
Hope we break.
We need to go play again.
Yes, we do.
It's been too long.
I haven't played in a long time, so it's gonna be bad.
So I'd probably kill you.
Charlie's gonna break 80.
I'd probably kill you.
Me and Tyler are gonna play for who can shoot the highest scores.
You gonna break 80 before summer?
Maybe I need to do the Super Slam of golf. Like just pick the best.
See, I think that'd be sick.
The best course in every state.
You played Trump's course not too long ago, right?
I did in Miami. Yeah.
See, that's
a good one.
That's a good one.
There's Florida.
Yeah,
everybody needs a challenge.
Hell yeah! But all the socials are Muscadine Bloodline, Muscadine Beeline, stuff, right?
Same, been the same.
Been the same forever.
Just type in Muscadine, it'll come up.
Hell yeah,
we're the only Muscadine band out there.
I think.
Hell yeah! Well, guys, thanks for watching this episode. Be sure to check out our boys Gary and Charlie. Check out Muscadine Bloodline. Don't just stream the record, buy the merch, go out to the shows. You guys will not be disappointed. And they've got a lot coming for you this year. Thanks as always for watching the episode, watching the podcast. Be sure to like, rate, subscribe, tell your mama and them. Shout out to Sweet Boy behind the camera and all of our friends. We got Whaletail Media, we got Saxman Studios, we got our friend Mitch Wallis with the Digital Marketing Agency, and of course our friends at Pickle Jar Live. We'll see you all next time. This has been the In the Round Podcast.